All right, welcome everyone. My name is George. I'm joined by my good friend and colleague here, Robert, and David couldn't join us, but we're the three co-founders, co-organizers of Deep Learning Adventures. We've been running this meetup for about 3 years now. We've been purely online for most of the time, and end of last year, I guess, somewhere there, we started doing hybrid, like everybody else. We used to meet back in my office near Union Station. It was kind of far. Will was kind enough to offer his space, his office space. So thank you, Will. Thank you, Excella. I have a couple of slides thanking you explicitly. So, but you could join us here. And this is one of many themes that we do as a community, as you'll see. We strongly believe in not just learning something from a textbook or from an online resource, but getting your hands dirty and learning something practical, as well as how to collaborate in a team. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned, soft skills, what are called when you collaborate with a team. So you'll get to see that. Cool. So with that said, Robert, you want to say anything?
Just I guess I'll show my face onto the camera here so people online get a sense of who I am. As George said, we've been doing this meetup since 2 weeks after the pandemic shut everything down. We were looking for a way to continue our learning online from a previous meetup that had stopped meeting in person. And we were fortunate enough to form a community online. We not only were able to continue working with folks from the DC area, but had the privilege of meeting people from all over the world, which was one of the silver linings, if you will, of the pandemic situation. And now in 2023, I guess last fall, as George said, we started to go back in person. And it's really been great to have some in-person events. And we still want to continue to facilitate our online friends as well. So it's going to we're looking to do this hybrid for the near future. What our group does is a lot of deep learning content. We've covered many courses in the past. I don't know if you have these course slides up here to go through, or just past videos. I can let you speak to that if that's.
I mean, just up the link of our YouTube, and then you could.
Okay. Are we sharing screen?
Yes.
We have the YouTube channel here. Move the Zoom controls out of the way so I can navigate. We've done a couple of series on Amazon Web Services, the cloud practitioner preparation, and the machine learning specialty certification exams preparation. We've done some series in the past on attention and transformers. Some members were able to give lectures to introduce us to content in that area at the time. We've also done a number of short courses and long courses. The specializations at Coursera and Deep Learning Adventure and Deep Learning.ai have been some of the long form courses where we'll cover the same series for 3 months or so working through. We've worked through the deep learning, Andrew Ng's original deep learning course. We have worked through the TensorFlow in practice, TensorFlow data and deployment. We have worked through a number of the Kaggle short courses. We've had some guest speakers. We've done some coding exercises. And the coding exercises is one thing that we haven't done in a while. So we're hoping to get into some projects with, do some collaboration here. Anything else that you wanted to say on this, George?
Maybe some of the newest.
Sure. Recently, we've been taking a little bit of an adventure into generative AI, as has everyone else. And we've been working through a couple of the courses at Deep Learning AI, the short courses. These are really convenient because they're, in many cases, built towards people who don't need to have a ton of background in the subject. And you can complete the course in 2 hours, and it can get you started. It can teach you a little bit what do you need to know about prompt engineering to start playing with the tool yourself. It can teach you, I think we've done one course on prompt engineering, one course on, were there 2 courses on prompt engineering, I think. And we have a couple of courses that are going to be upcoming the next few months. We want to cover evaluation of LLMs, retrieval augmented generation. We want to do the course on fine tuning. These are all courses that allow you to use the OpenAI infrastructure. You can use a key. You don't need to sign up for your own account. You can do it all right there in the browser. It's completely friendly to everyone new. So we're looking forward to each of those. And then as another event to go along with that, we will have these about once a month. We'll meet with these project collaborations, and we're really looking forward to seeing what ideas people may have here. We've got a few project ideas and some past efforts that George will be showing you soon. But with that, I think I'll turn it back over to you, and look forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you, Robert. Cool. So I have a couple of slides here. That I put on our meetup. Just go through them. So this is our main event. It's minimal. And as you might or might not know, we recently joined our data community, DC community. So we're part of DC2 now. Really fun and inclusive community. So I'm supposed to read this. So yeah, we're a diverse community. We're better, stronger. You should feel welcomed. You should feel, whether you're online, whether you're in person. The whole goal is to advance, data science in general, but also create networking opportunities, get to know friends, even start adventures together or business adventures that many of you have done. We have the full code here. These are the other meetups. So data science, this is one of them. Data viz that we'll organize, this is there. Data Wranglers, Generative AI. I heard they have a session tomorrow, right? Banjo, cool. This is us. Statistical Seminars DC, R, if you're into R, Data Education DC, and Statistical Programming DC. So a lot of cool.
That session tomorrow is right here.
Look at that.
Very convenient.
Very convenient. Awesome. So sponsor Rotational Lab, thank you for your sponsorship. That key supporter. And then the event space, Excella. Thank you for this great space. Thank you for the food as well. I heard it was delicious. Cool. So yeah, these two have their own. We have our own Slack as well as newsletter if you want to catch up and see what is happening. Cool. So what is the problem here? What are we trying to solve? What are we trying to do here? So as I mentioned in the beginning, you might have a basic understanding of a technology, a skill, a field. Maybe you're just joining data science. Maybe you just heard about Gen AI. Maybe you just heard about, all the buzzwords and like, okay, how do I get started? That's one avenue. The other one is maybe you have a little of coding experience, or maybe you want to looking into switching more into advanced coding, or maybe something from traditional software engineering to more machine learning. That's another branch. Or maybe you're just taking some kind of sample. You played a little bit with ChatGPT, you played a little bit with OpenAI, you played a little bit maybe with Azure AI, Anthropic, Claudia, Mistral, and all the fun large language models out there. But you want to take it to the next level. You just don't want to just write prompts. You want to just maybe build something fun and cool, and show it to your community, your friends, or just update your resume for whatever your goal might be, right? So you have a basic understanding of the idea. How do you solidify it? How do you make it stronger, right? How do you take it to the next level? How do you gain some more experience with it? And how do you have fun? How do you enjoy this process? You don't want to just do it for the heck of doing it. So how do you have fun? So you have an idea, you have some skills, you have a lot of interest, you don't know where to start. There's a lot of resources out there. You're curious, like you're willing to put the effort, you're willing to learn, you're willing to pick up something new. So I think those are the ingredients we're looking for here. So yeah, then you join a community-based project like this one. It's a great way to be part of a team, collaborate. I really think having both technical and soft skills will take you far in your career and in general in your life journey. So learning how to be polite, learning how to hear completely different opinions from yours, both technically and in life. Thinking from a different perspective of an existing problem. just the diversity statement that we had in the beginning, I think it really applies here. And also, how do you have fun, right? If you do it on your own, sure, you can go far, right? But there's a famous African proverb: if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with others, right? As part of a team. So maybe one day you have a rainy day, you're not feeling well. Maybe you're gonna, okay, I'm not gonna work on this project. Tomorrow I have too much work to do. Oh, life came in the way, work, friends, family, whatever, and you just give up. Versus when you're part of a team, there's a little bit of structure, there's a bit of motivation. Hey, come on, you can do it. It's okay, I'll cover for you today. You can catch up tomorrow. So there's a little bit of accountability there. There's a little bit of team effort that goes a long way. So how are we going to structure this? So we've done this in the past. We've done this for a couple of projects, and I'll share with them what they were. From really small teams to really large teams. And the simplest thing I want you to take is getting to know yourself, right? So getting to know your interests, getting to know what you like, getting to have an idea of the field, right? I think it starts with that, getting to know yourself. What are your interests? Then we're going to present some projects here, some ideas, but then again, these are just for inspiration, right? The sky is the limit here. So we're going to present you just to motivate you, just to give you some ideas. And then we're just going to do like, hey, who would like to join this project? Raise your hand. We'll just do team-based projects. We're going to use Slack to collaborate. It's going to be online. Probably you can meet once a week online on Slack. Maybe do like a Slack huddle. Hey, this is what's going on. This is the team lead. We're going to have team leads. This is the tasks. I was able to successfully complete this and so forth. So this is the step one. And step two, hey, we get to know each other better. Oh, this is my background. I've done this in the past. Oh, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm just here to learn. It'd be nice to have one, maybe two team leads. I think you need somebody to just keep the momentum going in lack of other words. So versus when you have a group of people just joining a Slack room, you might get a little bit of momentum loss. Like, okay, am I supposed to be doing this? Is somebody else supposed to be doing this? So just to cut to the bureaucracy and just to have like really affirmative next steps. We're going to do this. Looking for volunteers who has expertise in this. Just claim that task. And then we're going to identify some milestones. So based on your project, maybe a milestone is, okay, let's just frame the problem. That's the very first step. How do you frame it? And then, do we have the data? Do we have the knowledge? Do we have the expertise? And then what is an MVP that we can build? Is it just a mock-up? Is it just a notebook? Is it just a code that we can write? Whatever that might be. And then you can take it to the next level. Like step 3, you can say, okay, we're able to define the problem. We find our data. We have an MVP here. It's a notebook. It does this. Cool. Can we take it to the next level? Can it be a website maybe? Can it be an ML app? Can it be an app? Can it be something else that you can deploy somewhere? Can it be an API that maybe others can call? Whatever that might be. So yeah, we're going to do this for maybe 30 days, maybe 60 days, max 90 days, 3 months. I think is a good time frame. You're more than welcome to keep going on it. If this is your passion project and you have a lot of fun, go to town. But I think 30 to 90 days makes most sense because we want to switch gears. I want to do something else. We don't want to work on this for too long. So, and yeah, celebrate. It's something that you have accomplished by then. You can add it to your resume again. You can add it to your portfolio or GitHub, whatever. And most importantly, you have learned something. You're confident working with others. It's a really valuable skill set. So yeah, any questions about this before I give us some inspirational projects? Okay. Okay, Paul, how many are somewhat interested? Okay. How many? Okay. How many are like, okay, this is not for me. Just so I have an idea. Oh yeah. Okay. Zero interest. Like, okay, this doesn't apply to me. Okay, 50% interest. 80% interest. Okay, cool. Love it. Cool. So there is the interest. All right, then how do I start, right? What are some ideas? What are some projects? There's 2 ways we can do this. I can just leave the floor open, we can literally go table to table and ask for your ideas. Before I do that though, I like to just give you some motivation, some ideas, some projects that you might be inspired by. Cool. So we as a community, as Deep Learning Adventures, did this a couple of years ago. This was before actually during the pandemic, but this was 2021, I think. We as a team wanted to do something on computer vision. So we built this face detection app, and I have the links here in the slides. So, you know, you can do the traditional, hey, this is a person, this is a cat, this is a dog. Cool. All right. Let's do something more useful for us. So we thought of an end-to-end project where we would take the end result would be, can you recognize a person by who they are? So, you know, this is Lyric, right? If I say it correctly, Robert, George, can I build an app that detects me by my face, by who I am? So that was the goal. So we built this as the first step was identify the problem, get the data. We had to label so many data, so many data sets, you know, of us, of pictures of us, different poses, different, with beard, without beard for men, you know, like with eyeglasses, sunglasses, with masks. This is during the pandemic, with light, low light, you name it. So just annotation of this is person A, this is person B, this is person C. So we went through that. We trained the model, we deployed a notebook, and then, okay, well, can we have some more fun? Can we deploy it on an app? So we actually built an app, or we used an already built app. We deployed it there, and we have it on our phones, and then we can point it. You can either do a live photo, or you can upload an image. Something fun, cool, and it was pretty accurate. Like, we had a lot of fun doing that. And we presented it, the link is here if you want to look at the notebook or just the YouTube recording. And then a lot of us are bikers here, so this was a fun, cool one. Neil and Steven and Robert here are online and in person. So they had a lot of fun with this detector for cyclists. So the goal was to build this small kit, right? Battery powered Arduino kit with a camera. Sits right underneath your seat here and looks behind you. It constantly records. And if it senses that a car is coming close to you, it would beep. It would tell you, you know, car is coming. So no car behind you, you're good. Somebody's coming behind you, oh, be careful, you know. Very useful for bikers, right? We usually don't have mirrors like motorcycles, so very useful. Cool.
You can imagine that one of the most important challenges with that one was not false alarming on all the parked cars that you'd be riding past.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to detect that it's moving towards you in order to alarm.
Right, so frame by frame, it's coming closer to you and closer to you and closer to you. Cool. So this is what Archimedes has done in the past. Some other ones that I've seen online, again, this is for motivation only. You'll see more and more devices of this. They're called wearable, like wearable AI pins. Humane has one. You might have heard another one called Rabbit AI. But basically the goal is you have a model, it works in notebook, it works in data center, cool, but we don't live in data centers, we live in real life. How do I minimize it? How do I shrink it? How do I make it something fun and small and cute so I can either put it on me or wear it on my eyeglasses or wear it wherever I want, right? So how do I make it wearable? So this is a cool one. I have a link here. There's a video that describes how it works. You tap it, you talk to it, you interact with it. You know, you can send messages. It has a SIM card, has Wi-Fi, and it's pretty much, think of it as a large language model shrunk, really shrunk into this tiny gadget. Then Truera is a really cool company. They do a lot of work on evaluating large language models. They had a challenge recently where a lot of people around the world build a really cool application. Anything from building an app that, oh, can I upload my PDF, my notes, my course notes, and can you build flashcards for me? So I'm learning, I don't know, biology. Can I upload my PDF there and can I interact with it? So kind of like a RAG typical system, but within the app. Or maybe I took some screenshots of my course from my professor or whatever. Can I, you know, transcribe it? Can I have it in my app? So things of that nature. Lab AI has some really cool hackathons. Those are more advanced, I would say. But if you see something fun there, something cool you can be inspired by, check it out. Kaggle, we've covered some Kaggle competitions in the past. Kaggle really has some good ones, some introductory level, but as well as some really advanced ones for prize money if you're really into that. So, and then bring your own, right? So you can bring your own idea. So where there's a will, there's a way, like Albert said, right? So that's the beauty of it. So yeah, this is some ideas that we had in our mind. But again, the whole point is open it up to the community, see what your interests are, wherever they might be, and then we form a team or 2 or 3, however we have, then we just start collaborating on Slack. Questions, comments, feedback, does this make any sense? Yeah,
Sounds good, George.
cool. Anybody? Yeah, Steve, Neil, what do you guys think? We've done this in the past, right? So
Are we looking to create like complementary teams? Like different people have different backgrounds and different skills. So if we're gonna have 2 teams or 3 teams, do we want to try to, sort of have people distributed across the teams so that you can kind of get a mix of
yeah,
like,
yeah.
for example, on the Carback one, for example, like I come from like kind of a hardware background, right? So I was able to use some of that.
Mhm.
And Steve had previously presented a lot of work he had done with some of the edge AI devices, and then Robert has, is like a real bona fide data scientist, so he knows. So I think, like definitely having a good team dynamic. Not, obviously what you said earlier matters a lot too, like, being able to have those soft skills and getting along too.
Mhm.
Just a thought.
Yeah. I'm not looking to build, the dream team and the app, and the next business idea. This is more educational, right? This is more skill building. This is more, I have an idea of how this thing works, but I like to cover it later. So yeah, once the team are formed and we see that we have a lot of, let's say, front-end engineers here and a lot of back-end engineers here, yeah, maybe there's some math we have to do there to balance it out. But honestly, to me, curiosity and idea and being open to ideas is more important right now than trying to find the perfect dream team here.
Sounds
Right.
good.
We're not looking to optimize the distribution of people.
Heck no.
Like that. We're just hoping to offer a quality experience for everyone, and whatever you're interested in, whatever project you can find that scratches your itch. That's what we hope to.
Yeah, please, yeah.
They're not going to be long-term assignments. It's not really. We're not paying anyone. It's not a commitment.
Right.
I was going to make a suggestion, though, that
Sorry, Steve,
maybe,
one second. Give me 1 second. Go ahead, Alex.
You have a list of topics. Sample here, but it's hard. I think this idea might be the hardest part. For example, for me, like I'm a software engineer, so I might like make some work break down. Like once I know what I want to build, it's kind of rather easy.
Okay. So
but the idea, like what I
got you. So Alex, yeah, here is saying, I'm pretty good software engineer, if I understood you correctly. I know how to build things, but my kryptonite is ideas. I'm not strong at that. So I need to be paired up with an idea person, Okay, good to know. Good to know. Awesome. Maybe we go around the table and maybe we say some of our like top 3 skills. Would that work? From idea to front end to back end to, I don't know, anything else? Would that work? Like, honestly, this is just open floor, right? Don't be shy. Don't be reserved. Yeah, feel free to participate.
Think like what topics, and then just broadly, well, I'm interested in this technology or this, field of study, and might be able to find like-minded, what we're interested in that. Or
Yeah.
people have project ideas. Yeah. What was Steve gonna say?
Sorry, yeah, go Steve. Sorry.
yeah, I was just going to suggest, just based on lessons learned, that for all the interested people, we could have an initial group project, which would just be sorting out infrastructure, because I think things go a lot better when people can work both collaboratively and asynchronously. So, for instance, in the slide pack, you specify in step 1, we'll use Slack for communication. I think that's great. We also learned some things through sort of trial and error. I know both Neil and I went out and actually rode bicycles to collect data before we figured out that, wow, this thing works with canned data. But having, working out as much as possible up front, and I'm thinking specifically because I have a lot of hardware, and we were able to facilitate remote access to it with that ngrok software. But just having a little orientation and saying, okay, you know, we want to try to, for instance, do we want to try to write all the software into Jupyter notebooks? And if so, you know, if somebody wants to write in C, then we need somebody who's good with notebooks that can set up that infrastructure. So if we could agree the infrastructure up front, I think it'll make it a lot easier for people to participate at whatever level.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say as an MVP, maybe we're looking at like more like notebook kind of prototypes, just getting something done with a library or an API call or something that you build yourself. And then that would be like the first milestone. And then the next one would be, okay, how do we maybe roll this out to, how do we deploy it anywhere? Could be on a website, could be on an app, could be somewhere on an edge device. I think that would be a good approach. What do you think? So MVP notebook, that's what I would start with. You know, most of us, I think, are familiar with notebooks. We can start from there. Okay. You want to kick it off, maybe to go around the tables and just say a few words about your interest or your strengths, your weaknesses, and all that. Keep it short.
Yeah, don't feel pressured to come up with ideas, just
Yeah.
if you have something in mind, like some reason that you showed up here tonight, something you'd like to learn, something that you'd be interested in exploring over the next couple months.
Yeah, and if you're interested, just I have no interest in this, I'm only here to learn, that's perfectly fine. Just be very, very explicit about it. You know, if you're interested, hey, I want to build the next coolest front-ended app that does this, cool. Or I want to build something that's an API service that does this, cool. Or I have a problem every time I drive my car, I can't find parking, cool. Whatever the application might be, you know, it could be something practical or something academic.
Working on an idea, but feedback.
Yeah.
Do listen to audio.
So Ben just asked his interest is in audiobooks. I'm just going to repeat what you're saying for our Zoom friends.
Yeah, I've been trying to talk about audiobook, so I haven't worked on something, so I go, well, look, feedback.
So what is your idea? What is the idea again?
If you ever listen to audiobook, you all want to ask questions of the audiobook, so I know the product that can talk to them.
Okay, so Benjo here's a fan of audiobooks and he wants a product, app, whatever that might be, that you can interact with your audiobooks. You can ask questions. So interacting with your audiobooks. Okay.
Yeah. That, I mean, that would more broadly just work with any book, right? I imagine. Yeah, just like talk to your book. Yeah, very cool.
But the fun fact is it's audiobook, right? That's what distinguishes his. Okay. Got it. Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, interest. Yeah, that could be a RAG application. Yeah. Most of them will be RAGs at the end of the day, so don't be surprised. Okay. Yeah, please.
You're right, like that I've done rag once by myself. I'm not an expert or anything, but it's fun and I do that, good. So, I'm not a software developer, but I do a little bit of software, mostly I use Python and I use ChatGPT to help me with things I don't know that are not the regular Python data stuff. But anyway, I don't have another idea, but I like this.
What is that?
Oh, retrieval augmented generation is where you take a trained large language model and you give it some extra context, whether it's a book that you're reading or your own company's database or some piece of information that you care about. And then you load that data in and then you can ask questions and it uses that information.
Yeah, I mean, a large language model can only think about a very small amount of information. So it's how do you cull a bunch of big set of data into something smaller that it can understand it and maybe give you a helpful answer.
So for our Zoom folks here, so Melissa's saying she has an interest in RAG, retrieval augmented generation. No idea yet, but she like to work on that framework and any ideas that anybody has. Cool. All right, we have one table. Anybody from this table? Yeah, go ahead.
This project that I'm working on that problem with.
Okay.
So I'm like, so like I try to find like free stuff, right? That's like struggle sometimes, right? So I started being a restaurant. It's actually pretty good at that. GPT 3.5 isn't really good at it, but GPT 4 is. And so I've been like playing around with different ways to do that.
Okay.
I was thinking about like scraping different restaurant menu pages, and then breaking out the different menu items into like separate menu items in the database, and then asking GPT-4 for each menu item, like what's the percentage chance of this being, say, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, all sorts of different like dietary restrictions,
Right.
and then having a mobile app where people can open it and view menu items nearby, ranked based on their like dietary restrictions.
Right.
I don't know how difficult it would be.
Sounds cool
to
and
build, but
practical, right?
yeah,
You're lactose intolerant or gluten intolerant, whatever.
Yeah.
Like somewhere you're looking at a menu. Maybe there's some information there on the ingredients. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's like.
yeah.
how it
Sometimes
sells.
restaurants include like all the ingredients. Sometimes you have no idea. Sometimes GPT-4 is going back like, oh, there's like a 50% chance, so you don't really know.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure how difficult that is to build.
Yeah.
But
And you
That's
have
just
a
an idea.
MVP right now, right? You've been working on this for a while now, right?
a little bit. I'm working on and off. I
Okay,
haven't been.
okay,
Yeah.
Well, love your ideas. Practical.
So I've built a like version of it that's just like it'll you can just take a photo of a menu or give it a URL of a menu,
Mhm.
and it sends the photo of the menu to Google's Vision service to get the text, and then it'll send the URL. It just scrapes the page. I've been running on my local server, so
Yeah,
not very secure to have my local server just willing to scrape any web page. Anyway, it takes the content and then sends it to GPT-4 and
Right, so
just
like,
provide some guesses, but it's kind of useful the way it is, but yeah,
so OCR object character recognition pairs with
yeah,
GPT-4. Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Nice, really cool idea. Yeah. All right, so Alex, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just some niche cases, like one is AWS Deep Racer, like say,
Deep Racer.
self-driving car.
Okay.
Another one, there is a particular tile/based game, basically where you can just move on tiles. It happens once per second. Sometimes there are competitions there. There are like multiple types of games. So far, I have like a bot. And your goal is to like write they have like an API, and once per tick you can like send some action. And yeah, like so far I have just the code in Java,
Okay.
like a bot. What I would like to do at some point, maybe like to with a deep neural network to figure it out. I think it involves like a lot of infrastructural, things on how to get this data, how to process it, etc. Because right now the server is in Java,
Mhm.
and like the clients, there are like clients for different languages like Java, C++, others Python, but my bot is in Java.
Cool. Cool. Any other ideas, interests? About another table.
Okay, I'm Ben. I'm a software engineer by day. I'm getting better at Python all the time, hopefully. One subject matter I've been interested in is these language models as writing tools. So a lot of the tools now mostly just you type in what you want and it writes it for you. And I'm very interested in how can we develop tools that have a stricter line between being assistive and being generative. So that, it's not actually writing for you, just being helpful and actually having you write yourself. So that's just an idea, but I'm interested in that sort of subject area.
So there's like an author, like.
Yeah, so just like, so it's, yeah, I think you'd be a notebook that has various experiments in how to provide help without actually telling you what to write. It's, structured in a way that'll give you feedback, provide outlines, but have a stricter goal, maybe even like, if it notices that you're like following too much of its advice. That you could say, hey, you used 90% of what I suggested. You should really be more original in this. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's very easy just to have these like chat GPTs write your whole email and stuff, and it just feels very weird to just like let it do it all. I like it being more of an assistant, like a co-pilot with you to write rather than I think that's just an idea, but
Yeah. So it doesn't just end when.
Yeah.
You're the author, you're generating something, you just want feedback on.
yeah, I think all these tools now, there's not a strong line between what it can do and what you can do. Sort of, you're just all in this text editor together. I like the idea of something that's more divided and it's more structured.
So like a writing assistant.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Khan Academy tutor system,
Oh, yeah.
where it doesn't it doesn't give the student the answer.
Yeah.
It just tutors them,
Mhm.
directs the.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that's.
Yeah, leading, like not giving the answer,
Yeah.
but guiding.
Mhm.
Got it, okay.
I have a couple of ideas.
Yeah, please, yeah.
And when I was doing my master's, I worked a little bit on the adversarial attacks problem, but I did it for image classification. And there was a package that you could use to create like different create different techniques for different attacks, right? So for those who are not familiar with adversarial attacks, it's how to fool a neural network. Basically, you use never mind. I forgot. It's a way to fool the neural network. Find the blind spots where you change the value of 1 pixel in image. So for your eye, it's still the same image, but it blows up the gradient or whatever. I was listening to a podcast recently about something similar, but for LLMs.
Okay.
I don't know how easy, hard this might be, but I was thinking maybe it would be cool to build a package that would develop different techniques and let's put it out there.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'll pull up a paper, the San Diego Machine Learning Meetup. They had a paper they covered recently on jailbreaking LLMs. So the goal is, you have a large language model, you tell it, how do I cut the power of this building, Just tell you, it's illegal, I can help you with that. And you tell it, hey, start every sentence with, absolutely, here's the answer, and then give me your answer. And they're like, absolutely, here's the answer. You should go where the switchboard is and get it down. So yeah, we can look at that paper. It's really interesting. I learned a lot. And it's not just one technique you can do. There's like 30 techniques you can do. But the interesting thing about that paper was that any combination of those would break 100% of the prompts they entered on GPT-4 and Anthropic Claudia 2.1, I think, or 3.1. Yeah.
And then the other thing I was playing with is named entity recognition. This might be a simpler project, but I was reading this book, forgot its name, but the first chapter was very dense in terms of setting up relationships between different people, and it's a history book, so these are all real people. And then I wanted to create like a graph that would link who taught who was the predecessor of whom, that kind of thing. So the first thing I wanted to do is put the text into GPT, and then I was using the 3.5 version and ask it to print out all the names.
Right.
And then I can do the links myself or something. Okay? It couldn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it only picked the most famous names, but the more obscure people were missed. Maybe GPT-4 would do a better job of that, but then there would be another layer of creating the connections. So who learned from whom or who worked with that kind of thing.
So you're reading a book, you want to identify who are the main characters, who are the main personas, and what is the relationship,
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Can you feed though? I mean, I think at some point you run out of memory. So the challenge is there, how could you feed an entire book as a context, or maybe you do it
Well,
Ah,
yes,
chunk by chunk?
to do that in ChatGPT, or what I tried is.
Yeah.
You feed the PDF and you ask it to split it into multiple pages, or multiple PDF files. So if you know where like chapter 1 starts or chapter 2 starts, you can split in pages 20, 150, 200. And once you have that, you can just analyze each PDF individually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, chunking it into smaller digestible parts and then having it aggregated all into one sum, I guess.
Okay.
It's challenging, but definitely a cool problem. to try to
Yeah,
solve.
I like that we came back to books. Banjo, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Back to text. Yeah.
Yeah.
My other idea, I guess, who's a big NFL fan?
Who's a big sports fan? Zoom out.
Like this one, but, did you know that when they're making the NFL schedule, they use over 4,000 Amazon instances to run simulations of like how.
4,000 instances?
Yeah, so like,
Okay.
the best matchup. My idea is, what if you can replace all that? Even though I work at AWS, what if you can replace all that with LLM? So like, lower the cost of
You're not.
make an ideal schedule, like getting in other information, traffic things and whatnot, make an NFL schedule based on text and
So yeah, Banjo's saying that he's a fan of NFL and he's saying it's take around 4,000 EC2 instances to come up with a schedule of games. Is that based on what? On what would be cool match, interesting matches?
you know, scheduling, we have different things, travel time. there's
Travel
so many
time.
different
Okay,
algorithms.
there's so many parameters that you can take into input to generate that schedule. Can you help the environment and not use 4,000 EC2 instances and just do it with LLMs?
26,000 factors in schedule.
I'll tell you a solution from soccer, Banjo. Just have every team play with every team and you're good. Doesn't matter.
That problem has such a combination of hard constraints and soft constraints. And I feel like an LLM would really struggle with that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see how it does. But yeah, no, I think, yeah.
Okay,
Keep giving Amazon money, that's fine.
Yeah.
cool.
You're talking about jailbreaking.
Yeah.
Who here's heard of Mistral?
Mistral, yeah, yeah.
So I've played around with Mistral. So somebody made this dolphin version of Mistral that's uncensored.
Never heard of it. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, it's like uncensored, so it has, I was like asking the censored version, certain question, asking the uncensored version, you ask the uncensored version, yes, the censored version, how do I break into a car? It's like, don't do that,
Okay.
that's bad. You ask the uncensored version, it's like, oh, you need these tools and here's how to do it, you know, and I don't know, it's just interesting, I don't know what to do with it, but I have it running on my computer now.
You need both apps on your phone.
What?
The
Yeah.
legal app and the illegal app.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had an idea that was a little like less useful, but just like a random smaller idea, which was TV show spoiler. It would like take, so like if you had like a TV show, so like sometimes I'll like start binge watching a TV show and I want to quit binge watching it. And
Like that.
so I was thinking like, okay, what if you took, so there's this site called the TVDB that has like summaries of every single episode. And there's an API. And what if you put in, it would be like a web app, you put in like what episode you were on, and it would take all the episodes after that and summarize them with ChatGPT and then with GPT-4 or whatever, and then maybe create audio, I don't know, but just like summarize the rest of the show for you.
So the goal is what?
The goal is
Oh,
for you to feel like you don't
Netflix
have
to
to
be more
watch the rest
productive?
of, yeah.
I like the sound of that. Okay, I like that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
What is it called?
Yeah, I've used that.
Blinkist. Okay, yeah, I've heard of it. Okay. Cool. Okay, we have lots of ideas, huh?
George,
Yeah.
I don't know, can you hear the people that are online in the room?
Yeah, please, if you have something to say, if you don't mind unmuting. I can hear you.
Sure, yeah, sure, I'm unmuted. I'm just saying, can I be heard?
Yes, you can be heard. Yeah, you're loud and clear.
Okay, just a couple of things. One, would it be possible to, since if we're gonna use the Slack channel to come up with a simple, not a whole like plan, but maybe like a lean canvas or something like that, so people could put their ideas and just post them in the Slack channel.
Okay.
Because I think trying to sort of talk through design, that could be a very long process.
I hear you.
The other thing is breaking into categories. Like I had written down a number of things to bring to this meeting, starting with really simple proposals. Like I have a couple of new boards, one from the Google Micro board that we could do like a straight port. You know, if people were interested in just learning, we could port like the Carback project onto different platforms. And then the rest of the stuff that on my list gets a little more technical because it's about bringing on new technologies. So for instance, everybody knows that these large language models are built on pre-trained transformers. But the real, to me, interesting part about like OpenAI is the PPO, the proximal policy engine that sits underneath it. So I don't know if anybody was interested in, you know, trying to learn about, you know, things like Prolog programming and building a proximal policy engine underneath a transformer to make it more effective. Another area I'm working in right now is Gaussian processes. And so many people will be familiar with PyTorch, but there's also, you can look it up, it's called GPyTorch. And what this allows you to do is you're using Gaussian processes where for situations where it would be computationally intensive to perform inference on a lot of points. So let's say you have this huge model and it's going to cost you $1,000 every time you do an inference. You want to do it as few times as possible. And that's covered by this Gaussian process. But it's mathy, but it's interesting.
Okay.
And the last thing on my list was, you know, starting with simple ports of trying the software on different platforms, was creation of a deep learning ensemble. So in other words, having multiple platforms interact. And the example I thought about was, you know, anybody who's taken a long drive in a car knows that sometimes you appreciate and you hate having somebody in the passenger seat because they can talk to you and they can either be a distraction or they can, you know, keep you from running off the road at night. But to build something that used both visual recognition, maybe audio signals and other inputs, and acted as a virtual co-pilot that could, you know, talk to you as you were driving across the country, tell you about interesting points, warn you when you were going into a more dangerous situation, that type of thing.
Cool.
So those were my ideas and inputs. But I think if we kind of attach to each potential project, kind of what is the technical challenge or what are we trying to teach or emphasize, it'll make them easier to triage.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Slack again. We're gonna open I'll create a spreadsheet, some very basic fields there. You know, who is the idea person? What is their idea? What they're trying to solve? What is their end goal? And people can just you know, upvote it or write their names next to it if they're interested in that idea. And then maybe we can see how we can form teams out of that. Cool. I like that. Anybody else online, please? I want to make sure that you're heard and seen. So you have any ideas for everybody on Zoom?
Sure. My name's Kareem. Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome, Kareem.
Perfect. So I have bare bone AI experience. I have some Python skills. I'm actually a design engineer. That's what I do in aerospace industry every day. So I have an idea, which is, you know, I know people are talking with very advanced projects. I like Steven's ideas, but some of them are really, you know, above my skill set. So I have a basic, simple, I guess, idea where we can build an app that predicts traffic the next day or the day after. using the population in the region, the weather, if we can figure out how many vehicles are registered in that area, or accident history, time of the day, for example, or if it's like a holiday or a weekend. And then we can verify or validate that data against, hopefully, if it's easier to scrape Google Maps data from day prior, and we can train it on small regions and then eventually, you know, build it. So I guess that's my idea.
Got it. Cool and practical too. Anybody else on Zoom? Okay, go ahead.
This is Jim.
Go ahead, Jim.
Hi, I've gotten, I'm software engineer turned machine learning engineer in the last, say, 8 years, and have been doing sort of typical machine learning things based off tabular data, classifiers, regression, that kind of stuff. And the trick with some of these is to get the data, the features. And so you end up doing a lot of feature engineering. And some of the data is in these text documents or semi-structured text documents. And I saw an interesting podcast where they used an LLM to like extract the data. So you have this. So I saw a specific example. I have a specific example that I'm kind of interested in, where these carbon credit projects have to fill out these applications. And so there's these PDF documents, which are not all exactly the same format, but kind of similar. And you want to look at it and you want to say, like, who is the company that's supporting the project? Or what's the credit reporting period? And so the idea is you pass some of this data into an LLM and say, what's the credit reporting period for this project? And it's not like a efficient thing. It's not something you probably put into production, but it's kind of nice to be able to pull data, like to do a proof of concept. So that's my idea, is to get some set of documents, maybe PDF documents, and then be able to feed them through and extract this tabular data. Like for all the projects, I want to know who's sponsoring the project, and I want to know what the credit reporting period is. That's my idea. That's something I'm interested in looking at.
Cool. Really interesting project too. Yeah, extracting data out of PDFs, right?
It's sort of the big thing. It's very good at that. I feel
Yeah.
like, taking a bunch of different like types of PDFs, and if you give it a well-defined structure, it's very good at like putting it. That's a very cool thing. I think it's like very successful. A very fun thing to do.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else here in the room? Ideas, skills, interest?
I guess on the like, extracting from like PDFs, I think that's a very common theme.
Yeah.
I've been working on an open source package called local RAG, where you just pass in a document, it'll create a vector database from the document, and you can ask it questions. So it could be something people can play with, and maybe if you get feedback, you can install it today, you can install local RAG.
Local RAG.
Yeah.
Okay.
People are really interested in this use case, so I want to open source this thing. Local RAG,
One word, local RAG. Okay.
Pun, I guess. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I like it.
And it can run locally without having to use OpenAI, but you can use that. I just added that, but I've been using this tool called Olama, which allows you to run LLMs locally on your machine. So that's kind of the idea behind this. If I want to like chat with my documents locally, so yeah, it's on PyPy, so you can solve today, get a repo. It's like it's not production ready, anything like that, but it's just like something that gets started, and maybe this will be a project that help build
You
it.
just got your first star.
Oh, hey, see?
Love it.
Hey folks, so I'm Will Angel. When I'm not working here at Excella, I help run data community AC and put on fun meetups like this. On meetup.com, some of our groups have, dozens or hundreds of historical events.
Okay.
And it would be great to do some deep learning, generative AI, natural language processing on that and build a data set based on these descriptions. So if anyone wants to help out doing some like entity recognition and extraction, potentially building some kind of like chat interface, retrieval augmented generation, or just helping me wrangle with either Meetup's API or web scraping Meetup. We've got a sort of older
Yeah.
Selenium-based web scraper tool that kind of works, kind of doesn't. Meetup keeps changing and breaking stuff, so there's definitely some work there as well.
Cool idea. Cool idea.
Yeah, I have an idea that's a little bit similar to that concept anyway. Did some volunteer work recently with an organization, Families for Safe Streets, and one of the things they're trying to do is put out a newsletter with various developments in pedestrian safety in the Northern Virginia, Washington DC region, and there's no one to write the newsletter, so of course generative AI seems like a place to start anyway. And so the concept here is to basically scrape lots of local news sources, figure out what's going on, come up with a few different interesting stories for the readers that take up maybe one page. There's the other related data source is the organization has put out a near miss survey, which is basically collecting data, not just of where crashes have occurred, but where people think crashes are likely to occur based on their daily experience. So if they're driving through an intersection, they see a lot of dangerous behavior, they can report that intersection. If they're a pedestrian walking on in a sidewalk and they see a lot of particular crosswalk where drivers are turning through them without looking, they can report that. And so we're getting these reports, and they change a lot as conditions change. Construction zones pop up, and all of a sudden, someplace is dangerous that wasn't before. And so the idea is, can we read news reports, these surveys, and come up with an interesting report for readers that can be digested in once a month on relatively recent news.
Cool. I'm very practical too. I like that. Okay.
And it's an idea that could be used in a variety of domains, right? That was the one where I thought of it, but it's,
really cool. Okay, I think we heard a lot. I'll plug in back the slides, but I think next steps, I heard some really good ideas, and again, the point of this was to just to know our community a little bit better and get to know where our interests are. So, I like this session a lot. So what is next is we can continue collaborating on Slack. I'll share my screen here. And we can, okay, there it is. Let me actually share the screen. So yeah, we'll continue working on Slack, and I'll create a spreadsheet with all this. Well, I'll create an empty spreadsheet. I'll create some ideas that we have, and I'll allow if you can add your own ideas to that spreadsheet, who you are, maybe your Slack ID, just for privacy purposes. And then a short description of basically what you told us today, right? So I have this idea, I have this data. The description could be a sentence, it could be 10 sentences, doesn't matter. And then looking for contributors. And then if you see something of interest, feel free to sign up your name next to it. Or if you have any questions for that person, maybe you just DM them directly. And then next week when we do this online or on Slack, we don't have to meet. We can just do it online on Slack. We just see that, hey, there's three interests, 3 different projects or 2 different projects that people are interested in. That's where the majority is, or it's kind of spread out. Doesn't matter to us. I mean, the more the better, honestly, but at least 1 or 2 projects would be nice, so that when we get together a month, 2, 3 from now, you'll be over here, you'll be presenting, you'll be sharing your experience with your team and what you learned, and motivating others. So yeah, I have the invite here on Slack, feel free to join us, and then I'll share the spreadsheet there. Yep.
Just have a quick thought on that. For this, like the collaboration tool, spreadsheet could work well. There's also some other softwares like Miro or FigJam.
Yep.
But a little more like free association. Like it's more of a whiteboard that you can put sticky notes on.
Yep.
So they could even be, you could have like a section that's project ideas, another bubble that's like skill sets, another bubble that's maybe technologies or something like that. And people can write sticky notes of their ideas and put it in there, so you can kind of get a flat board for people to list all their stuff. And then the next step could be people try and make groups or pairs, or you can like thumb up or heart or leave emojis on other people's sticky notes, so you can start to see who's interested in your idea, if there's something you like, if there's a skill set that you think might be useful. It's a little more of a loose rather than like structured spreadsheet setup.
Yeah, a big fan of Miro. I use it often. Yeah. Yeah, that's good for ideation. That's good for online collaborative work. Yeah, we can use Miro too. I'm open to that. I don't mind. Cool. So does it make sense? Cool. All right. So yeah, feel free to join us again on Slack. We'll continue the conversation there. And then wrapping up here, I wanted to share. Yep, go ahead.
Can you add the Slack? That's the Meetup page you're on right now?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Everything is here. Yeah. If you look for join us on Slack, you'll find it here. Cool. Then going back to our main page here, I just posted another event. So if you're interested, so the goal again was to do this. We'll do this in parallel, right? But a couple of weeks, I'd like to get us together and talk a little bit about the front end side of building apps, right? So right now, maybe you're building something on a notebook, maybe something somewhere else, whatever. You need a front end, right? So similar to HTML is to, like SQL and all that, you need the front end side of it. And the good things, there are some applications like Streamlit and Gradio that help you with, I have a notebook, I have a code, how do I make it pretty? How do I make it usable? How do I make a UI in front of it with writing minimal code? So we're gonna cover the very basics, okay? Don't expect the full depth. Each one of them has so much content, but yeah, we'll cover both of them. This will do it from their documentation page. I'm going to the documentation page myself. This one is, we'll take the short course from Deep Learning AI. They have a Gradio short course. We'll just combine them together, and maybe we do a mini project, like a very basic one in Streamlit, and then another one in Gradio, just for you to see that, okay, I have now a venue, and like I have a front end design that I can go from my idea to a usable project. So we'll do that. And then, as Robert mentioned, if you go to Deep Learning AI, they have a collection of short courses. Every time I go here, I swear there's a new course usually being developed. Let's see what is this week. So we've covered the basic one, this one, ChatGPT prompt engineering for developers. We've covered the a little bit more advanced one. Does a little bit of evaluation there, a little bit of doing subtasks, a little bit of chain of thought reasoning. So really, if you take those two, you're in a good spot to take it to the next level. We're gonna wait a little bit before we do LangChain. It's a framework, right? LangChain and Llama Index, but we're gonna get there. Robert mentioned fine tuning. We're gonna cover that. This is specific to maybe some platforms, but yeah, this we're gonna cover on next time. So if you want to take a look, take a look. And then we're gonna take a look at evaluating and debugging generative AI. We're gonna switch gears at some point to diffusion, right? We haven't done anything with images yet. We've done one project in audio. It'd be nice to do something on image. And then, yeah, it looks like Google Cloud has one on LM Ops, and they just released one with JavaScript here. And some retrieval, some reinforcement learning from human feedback. I saw Andrew Yang, he posted something on LinkedIn about a paper that's an alternative to reinforcement learning from human feedback. Yeah, I think so. It's a new paper that he's like, I don't really give good reviews to paper, but this paper is excellent. Advanced RAG, and then quality and safety, vector databases, and then more LangChain stuff. Yeah, keeps going. Okay, cool.
Which one did you say you're doing next?
The Gradio one is next. And do I have Slack? Let me pull up Slack here, because if you're on Slack, here it doesn't want to work. On our main page here, I think, let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so you asked me, right, Melissa? So yeah, this is what we covered. But then yeah, we'll do the Gradio one. We'll do a session on Streamlit and Gradio together. Me personally, I use Azure at work. So if you're interested, I'm happy to do like one on Azure OpenAI session. Yeah. Okay, you're stuck in traffic. Okay. Yeah, and actually, Microsoft has an event, a workshop tomorrow on Friday. in their office. Just on Azure Eye. So I'll take notes there and I'll bring it back with me and we can look at it together. But yeah, then advanced RAG, evaluating quality, safety, fine tuning, diffusion, and then platform specific. I call them platform specific because each platform now, it's like the cloud, right? Each major provider has their own service of doing RAG. Cool. So yeah, that's what's coming up. Again, thanks for joining us. Hope to see you in our next session, and we'll take it from there. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. We'll follow up on Slack.
I'm very interested.
Good to see you, Steve. Good to see you, Neil. Good to see you, Jim. Bye, Mike. Bye, Dimitri. Bye, Chuba. Thank you for joining us.
How do you